There's really only one main thing you need to do in order to come to a solid determination on whether you need to stay in your relationship or walk away. And I really mean that. We make it so hard sometimes to make the call, the decision officially, right? And it's because we dilute the equation. We add all these extra details and components into the process of figuring it out that makes it almost impossible to find clarity versus being laser sharp on the one thing that matters that you should be evaluating and cross checking for yourself first. And better yet, I'll say the one thing that matters most, which simply put is your standards. I don't care what the problem is in the relationship. I don't care how long you've been dealing with it. I don't care what magnitude it is, how big or small it is. I don't care who's right or who's wrong, all the things. If you're on the fence on whether you should remain in your relationship or walk away, the one thing you need to turn to is asking yourself, can my partner actually live to my standard that I require? See, the reason why this makes it a simple answer is because it doesn't matter how great or not that your partner is. What matters is if they can be a contribution in a healthy way to what you require to live as a happy, healthy, holistic person, right? That is non-negotiable. And heck, the same can be said for you to your partner. Asking yourself, can you live to their standard, right? Because there's no right or wrong in having standards. They're for each of our own to decide what we require, right? Now, you want to make sure you're doing your vetting on your standards. Make sure you don't say you require standards that you actually don't require to meet your needs, because your standards are there to help you nurture your needs. So you can in turn live in a healthy, positive mental and emotional state of well-being. So through all the smoke and mirrors, answer me that one question. Can your partner live to your standard? It's a yes or no question, right? And there could be varying reasons as to why they can or cannot. Maybe it's because they're just not the right kind of person for you. Maybe you thought they were because you guys got along, had some chemistry in the beginning, or for the most part in the beginning stages. But maybe you come to learn on a value structure, they're just a person with characteristics and a personality that does not blend and match and mesh well with what you require standards wise. Or they could be too unhealthy and in too unhealthy of a space to actually meet your standard, even though they would like to, even though your standards are standards they would have for themselves if they were in a healthier version of themselves. If they didn't have the past traumas or the obstacles, the trust issues, whatever's going on with them, right? Self-validation problems, whatever it is. If they didn't have that, maybe they could match the standard. But as it stands right now, maybe they don't, so therefore they cannot. Or maybe they could. Maybe they can meet the standard, but they're not willing to. Maybe there's something else going on with them in their world, or there's something that they believe that they don't want to live to your standard, right? Maybe there's that. But no matter which one of these tiers you want to put them in, what lane, it still falls under they cannot live to the standard, which means they cannot do the job. You should always ask yourself, can my partner do the job I require to be the active, healthy contribution to my life as a partner that I need, right? Can they do the job? Do they fit the job description? That's a simple question. And it has a very simple answer to it if you're willing to be honest with yourself, if you're clear on what you actually need, what your standards are, and what is required of a partner to fit the job description to do the job. But then the next question comes in right behind it, which is not only can they do the job, can they do the job long term? Because a lot of people do great on the interview. A lot of people do good enough to get the job and they put their best foot forward the first few months of the job. But after some time passes, they start showing where they haven't actually built the muscle, built the character to actually do the job for a long period of time. That's where you should be evaluating, what has history shown me so far? What are the patterns my partner has done shown me to this point, right? What's their consistency look like to say that they actually can do the job long term? And if they've been struggling to do the job long term, not because they didn't want to, but because they're still growing through some things, some challenges, then how much intentional effort had they been putting in to doing the job long term that you require? And again, that's a very simple question to ask yourself about yourself in respect to your partner. Can you do the job they need you to do? And can you do it long term? What has your pattern shown? What has your consistency said to say whether you can do the job long term? Heck, do you even want to do the job long term? Very simple, easy questions with simple answers that gives you a very direct and simple conclusion that's not complicated at all. What is complicated is navigating your emotions associated with the decision you must make. And if that decision happens to be, I need to walk away, it's not the issue of coming to that conclusion. It's the issue of going through the emotional grieving and detaching that you must do to actually act on what you know. Or maybe you come to the conclusion they can do the job, then they can do it long term, or I can do the job, I can do it long term. Then the difficulty is not in the conclusion to say, hey, I'm going to stay 10 toes down and stay in this relationship. That's not the issue. The issue is the road of actually doing the work to make it happen. That's the part. See, we get so focused on do I stay, do I go? We start thinking about all these variables that really are irrelevant to actually giving us the answer to the question we're asking ourselves. You can ask yourself better questions, you get better answers. You get better answers, you have better clarity on what you need to do to get the better result, whichever side of the tracks that falls on. If you're in this position, take the time to do the due diligence for yourself to get clear on your standards. Make sure the ones that you have that are standards are actually requirements for you and not stuff that you just added in that makes it more complex to have someone be able to do the job, right? But also make sure you're living to your own standards. You can't expect your partner to come live up to standards you're not living up to yourself. Then ask yourself, can my partner do the job and can they do it long term? And if you do that, then evaluate what are your partner standards, all right? And if you're not clear, go ask, go investigate. And then ask yourself, can I do the job and can I do it long term? Then whatever conclusion you come to, ask yourself, what do I need to do to begin detaching myself emotionally? What conversation do I need to have to start breaking things off and working towards exiting the relationship? Or what kind of conversation do I need to have with my partner to discuss a game plan, to get on the same page, to make sure we're living to each other's standards, to do the job short and long term? If you need help learning the tools and the skills to work through the process to either walk away or learn how to rebuild and save your relationship to be healthy, either email or DM me the word coaching and we'll get to work as long as you're truly ready to put the work in. If you're not ready for one-on-one coaching, don't have the space or the time, email or DM me the word revival and join my Relationship Revival Hub community so you can learn on your own time at your own pace. Either way, get in the race. Let's get it.